Hello everyone, and welcome to Ventriloquism Weekly. I'm Rob Condas, and I'll be your guest host for this evening, or morning, or any time you choose to tune in with us. Today we'll be discussing the future of ventriloquism with accomplished ventriloquist Tom Crowl. How are you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing great, Rob. It's great to be here with you.
Awesome. Great to have you on the show. So, lately, Tom has been helping the ventriloquist community look to its future by helping honor its past. Tom, can you tell us a little about your project in cataloging interviews with ventriloquists?
Sure thing. Actually, the idea was broached by Ken Groves and Mark Wade. A number of years ago, they had tried to set up interviews with famous ventriloquists and get them on video, or back then I think it was audio, before they had passed away, and we lost their information forever. Unfortunately, the project never really took off. The footage never made it to the museum, which was the goal, and so they asked me if I would, pick up that mantle, and that's what I've been trying to do: interview different ventriloquists from, everyone from the well-known to the not-so-well-known, to get their story.
And who have you interviewed so far?
Oh, golly, quite a few people. Sammy King, obviously a legend. He was one of the major events in Las Vegas, and he toured around the world. Fascinating story from him. Of course, Dan Horn. I've talked to, Jay Johnson, and in fact, I'm going down later this month to talk to Jimmy Nelson, so we'll get his story for the museum as well.
Very cool. And where will people be able to access this once it's finished?
The museum goal, as I understand it, was to set up a computer system that will allow you to see and learn about different ventriloquists. And, for example, if you were reading about Sammy King, you'd be able to punch a button and his interview with me would come up, and you'd be able to hear his story in his words. That was the concept behind it. Now, whether they're going to actually do that or not, I do not know. What I've done is I've put the videos together in their entireties. We put an opening and closing tag on them, and they've been sent to the museum by DVD. Whether they'll be used on the computer program or whether they'll sit in a file somewhere, I do not know. But you'll be able to see them by going to the museum.
Very cool, very cool. So, along that topic, what do you think the intrigue of is in ventriloquism? We're talking about these, greats, and these audio files will definitely help younger ventriloquists and older ventriloquists and anybody who's really interested just to kind of be able to access a moment of history. Why do you think ventriloquism has been around for so long and people continue to be interested in it?
Well, I think the art in itself is pretty unique. I often compare it to juggling. In juggling, you have to have the skill, otherwise everybody knows you don't. And the same thing in ventriloquism. If you aren't a master at the skills, people realize it. So it's a challenge. It's fun. It gives you an outlet that so many of the other arts don't. And I've just talked myself out of that. Like I say, it's fun. It's a fascinating art. There's a lot of big names in the field. Jeff Dunham, Terry Fader, and there has been through the past. Edgar Bergen was around forever. Paul Winchell, and their stories are pretty fascinating. So I think it's one of those things that anyone can do. It's not like when you pick up a paintbrush, you can either paint or you can't. You might be able to learn how, but to really master that, you've got to have some kind of, inner talent. And I think with ventriloquism, it's a skill that literally anyone can pick up, and if they practice, they can do it, which makes it accessible to almost everyone.
As long as we're on that topic, am I correct in thinking that you have a ventriloquism course online for beginners?
I do, and it also helps the older set as well. Not just beginners. I get people in there who just want to brush up on their techniques and skills. And recently, you probably heard about the Mayer Studios being reborn or brought back. It had been closed down for a number of years, and when Clinton passed away, it went to Mark Wade, and he brought me and Ken Groves into the company, and we're now putting out Mayor Interactive, which is a totally different type of course using internet technology, similar to what I did, except we're adding on the component of one-on-one interviews throughout the course with each one of the pros. So you get coaching and review sessions from us when you go through that course.
Very cool. Don't think I've ever heard of anything like that before.
Well, we try to stay a little cutting edge. We want to, never has there been a course where 3 pros gave their input in the creation of it. And while you could talk to different people, you could get coaching through the internet, it's never been combined with a course like this. So we're pretty excited about it. We're going to be launching that later this month. It's April right now. So we'll be launching that April 15th to the International Ventriloquist Society, and it will release to the general public on the 21st of April.
Where would people be able to find that if they're interested?
Mayorstudios.com. It's the Mayor Studios website. And please, if somebody's not on our mailing list, definitely go over and sign up for the mailing list. It's we've got a forum over there where you can talk ventriloquism. We've got a number of people on it. It's growing every day. I think that's going to be a great resource down the road for ventriloquists, whether they're starting or older. We've got a lot of different products that we're putting out that are all designed to help people become better ventriloquists.
Very cool. And it sounds like this next question is exactly what you're talking about. Well, what do you think the future holds for ventriloquism, and what do you think we can do to ensure its continued existence? Sounds like you've already started.
Well, we're trying. One of the biggest things I see in the art is we get a lot of older people, and when I say older, I'm not talking ancient. You find a lot of people that are anywhere in their 40s and up who are very interested in the art. They they pick it up later in life. Maybe they played with it when they were younger. The number of youth in the business that are interested, they're just not as many. It's not like magic, where magic you see it and people can do it, and it's everywhere. Ventriloquism is kind of a smaller niche, I guess, market. It's a smaller. It's less interest in it, even though we've got some big celebrities in the business. So what I'd love to see is more youth brought into it. And one of the ways that we're working on that, we're currently creating a book through Mayor that's going to be a book for kids. When I was growing up, I remember you could find ventriloquism books in the library. Nowadays, you don't find as many. And the ones that you find, they're not always written to actually instruct. It's kind of hard to learn ventriloquism from a book. One of the reasons that I started my course, and I discovered when we put together the Mayor course, that if you really break it down to the very basics, it's easy to teach. That was something that we just, Mayor course, my original course is, I believe it's 36 lessons plus 2 bonus lessons, which I call bonus articles. With the Mayor course, we did it in 9 lessons. And anyone who goes through the Mayor course will have as strong a foundation as somebody who went through my course. In fact, possibly stronger, because you get different viewpoints on each one of the techniques.
Definitely. And I know a lot of speaking of the convention and other gatherings of ventriloquists, it definitely seems like the younger people are having a harder time being introduced to the art because it's just disappearing so fast. What do you think the average person can do to just kind of help it continue forward?
Well, I'd like to see more mentorship, I guess is the best way to say it. I think it's important to talk to the audience, because if I remember correctly, you caught me when you were younger?
Yeah, definitely. Beach Street, USA.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Took you down the wrong path, didn't we? But I think it's important to interact with people. It's to let them know that there is educational materials available, and encourage people who are interested in learning it. And I think if we all did that, I mean, there's a lot of great ventriloquists who are working with kids. You've got Steve Petra, who is doing libraries and school shows. Mark Wade, he's now retired, but was doing libraries and school shows full time for years. And of course, Neil Bacon's in Canada, and I'm going to miss some people. I know, I believe I didn't hear the interview yet, but Matt talked to Andrew Reddy out of Australia. So I think these people are working with kids, and I think it's important for them to, and for us all to try to instill that in the youth and to spark their interest in it and give them a way to learn the art, which is one of the things that Mayor's working on. And down the road, I'm hoping that we can create stuff that will allow, people to teach the kids easier, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the biggest obstacle for, like, the kids and just anybody who wants to start ventriloquism? What do you think is stopping that spark from engaging into a full-time hobby?
Well, again, I think it's lack of good material. You'll go onto YouTube, and that's one of the first things I know when I became interested in it. YouTube was out, and I went on YouTube, and I watched a lot of video that was really bad. And when I started putting my course together, I decided, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to look and see what everybody has out there. I didn't want to duplicate what anybody had, but I wanted to see how they were instructing it. And there's a lot of really, really bad instruction. And, and it dates back. I mean, it goes back when I was a kid. There was a paperback book that was put out, The Secrets of Ventriloquism, and it was really lousy information. One of the things that almost stopped me, when I started learning, I bought a cassette course. Cassette course, one of the first things he wanted to teach you was the letter B. And the guy his B's sounded perfect. Of course, you couldn't see whether he was moving his lips or not. And what he was describing, I could not do, and it frustrated me. And I think that's extremely important. You don't want to frustrate the beginner. You want to give them things that they can work on, skills that they can build on. If we do that, I think it's going to open it up more. And if we make it widely available, again, I think that's one of the reasons that magic takes off so much easier, because magic tricks can be bought rather cheaply, and with ventriloquism, if somebody goes, I want to do ventriloquism, the first thing they do is they look at the puppets and the figures, and they can't afford them. So, and it goes to figure, because building a figure is expensive. It's very time consuming, but it'd be nice if we could create some way to help the beginner become interested, to have the proper instruction, and to find a way into it that is not so expensive.
All right, very, very good advice. So, before we close our show, do you want to say anything about what you're up to these days? Are there any new projects you're working on that you want our listeners to know about?
Well, I'm getting ready to go down to Florida again. Mark Wade is based down there with Mayor Studios, and I'll be going down and helping him with a book that he's creating. I'll be going down and interviewing Jimmy Nelson while I'm there. We've also got a figure building course that's in the makings. I'm not ready to release the figure builder's name, but we're going to be doing probably the most comprehensive course, video course on figure building that's ever been created. It's going to be revolutionary when you see it. It's the advanced footage that I'm working on now, the editing and everything. It's just it's amazing. Working with Ken Groves and Mark Wade on dialogue books for ventriloquists. For years, people didn't know what to talk about. They were using other people's routines. They were using old dialogues that weren't funny. They were written in the 40s and the 50s. We've brought all that up to date, and we're providing dramatic readings with those. We're showing people how to write the scripts. There's a lot of different things going on at Mayor Studios, and I'm extremely excited about it. In my own career, just keeping my head above water, doing some shows. I'll be down at Virginia Beach again, still doing some corporate shows where I'm flying out here and there, and just having a blast with the Mayor website and with my own course. So that's what's happening in my neck of the woods.
Fantastic. Alright, if you want to know more about Tom Crowl, just check out his site, www.comedyventriloquist.com. That's www.comedyventriloquist.com. Thanks for tuning in. This is Rob Condas, here to remind you to keep talking for two.